Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody, on this beautiful Monday. Good morning, everybody. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Nice to see everybody in the building on today. Nothing but love, 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 and innovation on a good Monday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tell y'all what, because everybody got a little case of the Mondays today. We're going to do what we normally do. We're going to start it off right. We're going to start off how we been doing it and how we been doing it, yeah? All right, so for all the new people that's in here, here's how it typically goes. I'll start a phrase and then you end it. So whatever you need for the day, you will typically say it. So if I say I am, you will say strong. If I say I need or I am accomplishing, you will say success, working harder, achieving goals. It's basically whatever you need for the day. So let's get this going. I am. I will be. I am. I receive. I am. And I receive. Once again, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sending out nothing but love. Hope you guys had a good, productive weekend. My weekend has been very eventful. Big shout out to well, I'm gonna wait till he get up in here. I don't see you up in here. But for all y'all that don't know, Cree is his birthday is today. Cree's turning 12 years old because Cree looked like he about 12 years old. But I hope everybody had a good weekend, man. It's today. I don't know how today might be long. Today might be short. I don't know. I got a lot of things to do today. But I want to make sure I got on here this morning and make sure that you guys had some form of something, to give you guys something to chew on for the day. And real quick, we can just talk about, what I kind of want to talk about that Rittenhouse case, but I just don't want to perpetuate any more momentum towards that case because the dude already the system does what the system did what the system normally does and who it's designed for, so probably not going to really dive into that. But I will say, we could dive into Friends. Let's talk about Friends. Because lately, what's going on, Zoe? Didn't even see you was up in here. I hate that. It don't tell me who be up in here. Like if you was to like something or if you was to like, I guess like come in and say, I don't know how or why it tells me what, but all I see is a few people and I see like one or two names. I didn't even see yours. But let's talk about Friends, man. Well, let's talk about just cherishing people in our lives. I feel like the message for today is to really listen to that voice that shows you and tells you how. Good morning, Cortland. He said, "Well, I'm in here, the most important person." To cherish, when you have those inklings and those feelings to like, and it's not limited to just friends, family members too. Check up on your people. I'll say that. I'll say that can be the topic for today. What the title for today? Check up on your people, because we living in a time to where there's a lot going on. And a lot of broken communication and a lot of bad habits of communication are floating around us right now. And not everybody knows how to be vocal about how they feel. And not everybody wants to be vocal about how they feel. So, and also some people are just looking for a person to like, well, I don't want to overbear them with how I feel and what I'm going through. So if they ask me, I'll talk, but I don't want to be a burden because everybody just be feeling like they burdens to other people for whatever reason. But I will say this. I'll lead off with this. It is never wrong to sit there and lean on friends and our family that claim they are there for you and to test those waters. Because it's always good just do a mental heat check for yourself. If you might already have the system of this is what I do for myself. This is how I feel about my life. This is how I have my process. This, that, and the third. And that's cool. But it's never wrong to take the time and to just be like, hey, like hit up somebody and be like, hey, can we talk? Do you have time to talk? I need somebody to talk to. I mean, that's what real friends are there for, right? My dogs are going retarded in that kitchen. But yeah, man, it's one of them things to where it's like people, like I said before, check up on your friends and check up on yourself, because mental health is just crumbling these days. People have no more mental fortitude. Well, I ain't gonna say no more. There's a strong lack of mental fortitude these days. And I just don't understand, how is it that people want to play the strong game? It's like, I want to act strong, put this facade on that I'm this big, strong person. My dogs are going retarded over there. Yeah, when I stop talking, they stop barking. Lord. They want to put this big, strong facade on and walk around like everything's good, and it's really not. And that's another thing. I feel like, which is also tied to social media, which is why it influences people to do such a thing. It's like everybody wants to look their best and, glamorize everything and be on the up and up and this, that, and the third. And I mean, nothing's wrong with that. If that's your thing, if you want to be a well-kept person, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, it's like, you got to know how to handle that other baggage that you're not promoting. It may not be a Louis bag, it may not be a Birkin bag, but it's some type of baggage. And you gotta unload that, man, because the more you just keep piling and piling inside that bag and not dealing with it and not taking it out and airing it out, man, it's just gonna get heavier and heavier, and then eventually you're gonna have to deal with it. A lot of people deal with suppression these days too. It's like, well, I'll eventually deal with myself and deal with the problem, or I'll deal with this, that, and the third. And a lot of men too, because I mean, women have always been vocal about their emotions and their expressions and stuff like that. And I feel like that it's always been some form of decent balance on the women's spectrum. But for men, it's like, I ain't gonna say we, because I don't fall into that category. Me and shoot Cortland up, and he'll vouch for you. I'll call Cortland. We'll have a 3-hour conversation if need be. But it's like, on the men's spectrum, it's like they have the hardest time just talking about the simplest of things. Like people, and I don't know why. Because to be honest with you, I don't find expressing my mental health or dealing with my mental health a masculine or feminine thing. It's a human thing. It's like, I'm not about to put any connotations on if I'm going through depression, if I'm going through a hard time, if I'm going through this, that, and the third. It's like, I'm not about to put, oh, well, that's real soft if I got to go to my friend and I got to talk about my feelings and this, that, and the third. There's been plenty of conversations. Cortland as my witness, because me and Cortland be having the best talks. There's been plenty of conversations me and Cortland then had, especially on them drives to Austin, or especially on them drives to like Houston or just a gig or something like that. Man, we didn't talk about how to crack the Geneva Code of mental health for men. Like, we really be bearing our souls, and people need that. Like, men need that, because we already have enough coming against us. You got, it's a big list. I ain't even gonna name all. So it's a big list of things on top of having to be a good man in this society. So it's just, I'll say this, man. Just check up on your friends. Just check up. If you have the feeling to check up on your homies, check up on them, because you never know what that person going through, and you might act. And that's another thing, guys. It can be that simple. Of like you getting checked up on, or somebody checking up on you, and like you saying what needs to be said. And my dog barks, so that mean they agree. Because like oftentimes the mental problems that we have, and I'm not trying to play on mental health whenever I say what I'm about to say, but oftentimes the mental health problems that we going through, we deal with it out for ourselves and we cope in this, that, and the third. But oftentimes our friends, our good friends, our real friends. Good morning. Oh, my dad's up here. Our good and real friends, they can help us get through it. Without saying too much, my other friend Andre, y'all know Andre. Me and him be having our talks, and he be like, man, you saying the same thing such and such told me. And I ain't gonna say who the other person is, but they known for, giving really good mental health advice and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm trying to be as tapped in as possible so I could be here for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing. I mean, I be having talks with my dad. Like, my dad will say stuff he didn't even know I need to hear, and I just be chewing on it. I'll be like, yep, you know what? I should start doing that. Or, I should do this, that, and the third. I should keep that in mind. Me and Cortland will be talking, and then Cortland will say, so, oh, good morning, crap. I've been waiting for you to get up in here. Good morning and happy birthday. Y'all, hold on, let me find it. I don't know how I could do it on the iPad, but, y'all put like birthday cakes or something. Today's Creed's birthday. I need to find like a cake. See, I'm not used to doing it on my iPad. You know, I don't really eat cake, so I'm gonna put a whole bunch of apples. I like honey bun cake, but I don't be eating cake like that. Happy birthday, Creed. But yeah, man, like people just have to really take the time to tap in and like really be there for their friends and for themselves, for their mental health. Hey, mom, I even know my mom, bro. This thing is tripping. I don't even know who's in here, but I'm seeing all the important people up in here. My mom up in here. That's annoying. But Chris is up in here, bro. The whole family up in here. What is going on? And it's not showing me that. That's wild. But yeah, like it's important to really take the time to really chew on the important things that all of your important friends and family tell you about your mental health, and it's okay to express that. You know, because you never know what you can get as far as healing or what's the other word I'm looking for? Just processing your emotions a lot better from one simple conversation with a friend and y'all just being vulnerable. You know, but like I said before, these horrible connotations that they put on men expressing their mental health and stuff like that it's just horrible. And like we are making progression forward as a society because, you know, men's mental awareness month and suicide month and all these other things they have going on social media, they do promote it. You know, there's a lot of posts for it and all the other type of stuff. But at the same time, you know, it's still upon us as men to like really start expressing ourselves and being real about it. Like me and my dad was talking about the podcast I Am Athlete with Brandon Marshall. He has a checkup that he does with his friends, his former athlete friends. You know, every show and in general. You know, like how's your family, how's your mental. You're like on a scale of 1 to 10, how your family, how your mental, how's your money, how's your business. You know, like really being there and being real and checking up on people. And I feel like we all need to start doing that with other fellow men because it's like as men, we get so used to just grinding, trying to avoid stereotypes, really trying to become the best form of ourselves and the best men we could possibly be. And it's like, it's really, really hard. You know, it can be really, really, really hard to like sit there and be a stable, good man and not have the time or have the know-how or feel as though you can fully express yourself mentally. You know, like that's just the reality that we live in. That's just, I don't know why that stigma or that type of mentality took over a lot of the men from the beginning of the time to now. You know, is it ego? Is it pride? Is it seeming a certain type of way? Appearance, you know, image? I don't know. But I know the most successful and sane and just well-balanced people are people, well, men in particular, are men that really take the time to work on their mental health and, you know, have a decent circle around them that can help them with it as well. You know, like too many people go out behind suicide and all this other stuff via mental health. Like prime example, it happened. Well, I came to this realization years ago, and that's what really made me start like not wanting to be famous and this, that, and the third, and just really wanting the lucrative side and the notoriety for all the talents and stuff I want to, you know, display and stuff like that. But I was real young. And I started noticing like, oh, this celebrity committed suicide and they this, that, and the third and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, y'all got money. Y'all got big money. Y'all got the money most people trying to get. And y'all out here taking y'all lives out. Y'all really just hitting the red button. You know, like y'all really just cutting the game off. And from a young age, I'm sitting there like, why? Like, why would y'all do that? And y'all, you know, it seems like y'all living a life and blah, 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 blah. But I go back to what I said before. Everything seems a certain type of way. Images are being displayed, facades and all this type of stuff. Not dealing with their mental. Ain't no telling I mean, you know, the more money you get, I always did tell people most times you can't, well, I ain't gonna say most times because you got a lot of crazy people with money. But oftentimes, you know, when you get money, it just amplifies who you are. I always did say that money is an amplifier. So you can be rich right now. That doesn't mean you're going to be a better saver of money or a better person or this, that, and the third. If you a crooked, crazy, addictive, impulsive person, when you get money, you have way more opportunities and moments to be more of that type of person. And that's typically what happens. And that's typically how it happens. You know, so get your mental right, you know, and when you get the money and if it still ain't right, try to use that money to get it right. You know, like start getting you a therapist, start really trying to be around, you know, people that's going to pray for you, people that's going to give you some real word, people that's going to actually tend to your mind, body, and spirit before you actually call yourself just trying to, I don't know, just like try to go through life just so chaotically. Because when you start doing stuff like that, it crumbles. And I would hate to see people finally get what they want, quote unquote, or to get somewhere that they kind of want in life. Because you can get places and achieve while going through depression and thoughts of suicide because you just have high functioning people these days. You can function on a high level with all these mental problems. But I would hope that y'all trying to deal with it or talk to people about it whenever you're going through this or having this, because money ain't going to change it. Money just gives you more options to do more of the things that you're probably doing to have you in that state or to cope in a way. Like you got a lot of people that's depressed that's on buku amount of drugs. They get money, the drugs come pouring in even more. Why? Because I have the money to bury my emotions and go numb to the life that I have to deal with, or the emotions that I don't know how to process. Reasons why I say money is just an amplifier for a lot of people. So just tap in with your friends, tap in with your family, tap in with yourself. Like one of the methods I can introduce to y'all, I would say to start tracking your dreams and interpreting them. And if you're not a dreamer, or if you don't feel like doing that, get you a journal. Start writing down how you feel. Really, you have to go into a very analytical state because some people are feeling these type of things and don't know why. So like really go into an analytical state. And if you could be on your phone all day, we live in a day where everybody got a cell phone, everybody on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Okay, what would it cost you to know that you're going through these things mentally and become an analytical person? And it's like, okay, I felt this way when I did this. I ate this food and it made me feel this way. This person said this to me and it made me feel this way. Start logging it. Start logging all of that stuff and really start trying to get all that stuff. Good morning, Ms. Gaynell. Start getting that stuff together and putting it where it needs to be, because whenever you start doing that, now you can kind of pinpoint what's going on if you already don't know what the causes are. Because a lot of people feel a certain type of mental emotions for different reasons. A lot of people can identify why, and a lot of people can't. So start journaling. And if you don't know how to journal, or if you don't want to journal, I'm gonna stop saying don't want to, because there's a lot of things you don't have no wants when it comes down to dealing with your mental health. Honestly, you really don't. We give ourselves too much leniency and room for procrastination. Well, I don't feel like, I don't want to, blah 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 blah. You got to really take the time to start tackling your mental health. Because if you don't, see, that's the reason why, and that's another thing. Mental health issues express themselves in other ways when they're not getting dealt with. So a really depressed person, they suppress that depression so much it can leak into procrastination. It can leak into being present. So now you're more absent than normal. It can leak into a lot of anxiety. It's just because you're dealing with one thing doesn't necessarily mean, I have that one thing in control if I can cope with it. No, 9 times out of 10, because that's just typically how our emotional neurons fire off in our brain. Every emotion and everything is tied to something else. It has an opposite side to it. So if you're dealing with hate, you'll have a hard time balancing that with happiness and joy and stuff like that, because you're in a state of just imbalance and suppression to where you can't let the things flow out how they need to. Because I'm not saying stay in a state of depression and hating this, that, and the third, but we're human and we're going to feel certain things. So you have to learn how to maneuver through that in a very healthy manner and deal with that and exercise those emotions out. And then you can go back and go into the other emotion that's the opposite of it. It complements it, but it's the opposite of it. So because if you dwell on one side too long, you become that, or it really weighs on you and it starts tearing you up. So you guys really got to start taking the time to do something about yourself, like for real, because I know it's quote unquote played out or it's all over and it's a social media trend, blah, 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 mental health. Oh my God, check on your and I get it. It can be annoying. Seeing it so trendy and seeing certain people promote it and it's like, well, I know, blah, blah, blah. Just do it for yourself. Don't worry about what other people say about mental health, or how this whatever stigma for size or images or whatever. Just make sure that you are doing it for you, because your real friends gonna notice as much as they can, as much as they're able to see. They will. There's a lot of friends. I ain't gonna say particularly who I'm talking about, but I was living with somebody when I was in college. It was probably dude is still to this day one of my best friends. And I remember a lot was going on at his house, and we way in Lafayette at UL, and there's people way on the other side of the state, if not in the other state. And he was going, his family was going through it. And it affected him because he's like me, he's a family person. So if I was to get that type of news too, it's like I would have a hard time kind of being stable at school and studying and locking in because I want to go help my family. But they're telling him stay there, get your degree, blah blah blah. This is going to help in the long run, blah blah blah. And he's going through a rough patch also in his long distance relationship. He's discovering who he is as a young man. And it's like, dude was really battling some demons. It got to the point to where I would come back to the room. Well, I'm saying it's a room, but I had a single dorm. It was like a common area. It was like an apartment. It was like a common area with the bathroom, the kitchen, and the sink and all that type of stuff when you first walk in. But then there's separate rooms though. It's like I had my room, he had his room. And I started noticing the lights were always off. Dude had I think he had nailed or like stapled some comforters on the window because they only give you one window at UL off the window. So when you go in there, even at this time right now, it is pitch black. He's on that computer screen all day, and he's just like, and when he would actually come out, he would be so, and it's not like him to be quiet. His shoulders all tucked in. He not performing well. Whenever we got music classes and stuff like that, and we got practice, he's really, really hard to talk to. And I had to start literally hiding knives because any type of cutlery that we had inside the room or around. And like when he wasn't, because he would leave his door unlocked. When I know he would go to class, I go search his room and I go to anything that can cause him harm. I'm hiding it. I'm putting it in my room. I'm going to put, because it's like, I don't want to see my friend go out like that. And oh yeah. And also his room started stinking. Jesus Christ. But that was my boy, so I took the time to be like, okay, I'm already hiding stuff from him. I need to start talking to him and helping and try to see if I can help him deal with it. So, I would go in his room, even though I didn't want it. That room was so dark and heavy. I go in there, I be like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You ain't been coming to eat, cause everybody know the caf was the spot. Like we had our table. It was like literally about 20 deep. We had our table and like, we'll be joking for hours in between class and stuff like that. That was just the spot for us to hang out and let it all out and just be friends and cut up, but he wasn't coming. Like he would go get his food to go, he wouldn't even be, if it wasn't dealing with like practices, performances, stuff like that, he had to be too, he wasn't out, so I started taking the time to really go in there and like talk with them and be with them and like let him express, cause he wasn't really expressing that, and I guess he must have felt burning. He's like, well, I don't want to, put my problems. I say, no, you're not putting your problems on me. I'm a friend that's willing to listen. Then I started just practicing in the room with him, like talking with him. I don't play like PC games and stuff like RPG games. I mean, I do now, but back then I wasn't really into it. And, I was trying to figure the game out. We talking about this, that, and the third, like trying to bring some light into his day. And, he actually cracked and started talking about what was really going on. And that one conversation, he finally got a chance to let it out. I told him what I felt led to say, and we started moving forward from there. And like, it started getting better. Now, granted, he had his moments, and then he, eventually he went back home to go deal with his family. And, he's still out there right now. I think he said he's going to go back to school soon, but everything's turned around. He went back there. He did what he had to do. He helped everybody, and it's like, he's in a good place right now. He's in a way better place, nothing but love for the guy. But, I can only imagine what would have happened if I would have never took that chance to, follow my feelings or my spirit to like really go check up on him. Like, even though it felt uncomfortable in there at the moment, I really went in there and took the chance and was like, okay, I got to make sure my dude is okay. Cause that's my friend. It's like, I met dude 2020, summer of 2013. I want to say that's when we met because I decided I didn't want to be in the drum line no more. I knew I wanted to have my music scholarships and still be in the band for the scholarship stuff like that. But I got so tired of marching drums, bro. Like it's just so much work. And I was like, I'm gonna go to pit. I'm gonna go to front ensemble. And that's how we met. Dude who played in the front ensemble. And I'm talking about, I didn't know how to approach him at first because for everybody because I got a few friends in here that know exactly who I'm talking about. I got some family members up in here. Well, my mom and my daddy, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. And he look a certain type of way. I'll say that. He's a short black guy. He look a certain type of way at first, but has a heart of gold, man. Like still to this day, one of the funniest, dopest like people I've ever met. Like that's my boy. And I can't wait until his car get fixed so he can come out here because he's talking about coming out here soon. And if I got a gig that way, I'm definitely going there. I'm going to see my dude. But yeah, it's like that's when we met. And like it never was on like no he trying to be, because I mean he's known for being the best at what he does. That's one thing about him. Like that dude know his music theory and can form. Like oh yeah, and he's also a lefty like me. That's nothing that brought us together. It was like, oh, we both look. I noticed him playing. I was like, you left-handed? He was like, yeah. He said, you left-handed? I was like, yeah. So we bonded on that type of stuff too. And it's like we became. I'm talking about the closest of friends. And then I think it was like my second year, maybe third year. Was it my second, third? It was like about my second, third year. And at UL, with him being friends with him, and then we had eventually moved in together, I want to say. And I think that was the third year. I believe it was the third year. And we had moved in together because that was my last year living on campus. So yeah, it had to be with him. My third year. And we moved in, and like it was just dope, bro. Like it was, and then that's another thing too. I noticed, like that's another thing when y'all checking up on y'all friends. Notice the curves, notice the pattern changes, because like if y'all know, for everybody that know him, he is very like bouncy and happy and loud and like like he's that type of person. And whenever his characteristics just started going woo, like just shutting down and hey, good morning, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, maybe he's sick. Because the first thing came to my mind was like, is he sick? Like, is he just tired? Because we did have some early classes. I was like, is he tired or something? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to give him some space. But it was consistent. It was over a week. It turned into a month. I was like, nah, let me check up on him. So he was going through the whole isolation thing, like I was saying. He was going through all this other type of stuff. But me, and I'm not the only person. I mean, we have the people that's in our circle, we very close knit. So like everybody else that kind of noticed his behavior patterns changing, they pitched in too. I just felt like I had to hop on it as soon as possible and give as much time as I could because I lived with him. So it's not like, oh, well, I'll see you when I see you, we can talk, or I'll call you. It's like, no, if I was to walk out say this was my room, I'll walk out this room and make a right, that's his room. Like not even 4 steps across to the hallway. That's his, well, not the hallway, but the commons area. That's his area. Good morning, Miss Smith. But yeah, it's people just got to understand that mental health is something like, and it doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be as bad as it is. And I'm not saying we're not going to go through things, and we're not going to go through periods like my dad said earlier, isolation and stuff like that. I'm not saying we're not going to go through that, and we're not going to have to process these emotions, because we do. We have to experience it to know what it is and know how to get through it. But y'all don't have to be alone, man. Y'all really don't. Like, really take the time to reach out and do what you have to do to become better, to get better, to move on and move forward. Because if not, you just going to be stuck in that same cycle over and over and over, especially my guys that's up in here. Like, really, man, you got to really, and you know what it is? It's mental, yeah, but it's really spiritual too. It's like, it's so crazy. Everything, like all your emotions and your mentality and your physicality and your spirit is really all one, because it all coincides with one another. So you have to make sure that you're balanced as a person, or try to balance yourself as a person, to where you don't have to worry about all of these other, like it's too much. It's really too much, because if you fall out of whack, it's really hard to get back sometimes. So try your best to stay as balanced as possible, experiencing both sides of your life. Don't try to hide, like I said, what that was Saturday. Don't try to hide yourself or certain things from yourself. Like you have to, because that depression can come from you denying yourself as well. Pieces of yourself, parts of yourself, your sexuality, all that type of stuff. Like really take the time to figure out, okay, I've seen my own ugly side. I've seen it. Okay, I've seen my good side. How do I live with these things? How do I understand these things? How do I move forward? And once you really start doing that, you'll see your life really start to change. You'll see your mental health start to change. And like I said before, y'all, reach out to somebody. If you can't handle it on your own, and if you don't know how to get out of it on your own, I'm blessed enough to be one of those people to where it's like, I like dealing with stuff on my own. And not because oh, I'm macho man and I'm just the king of knowing it all. I'm really not. But I notice that I flow way better, just on my own. And if it's that bad, I'll reach out to who I need to reach out to. But also I'm blessed enough to have a circle I had, because my bro, who, especially my parents, bro, my mom and my dad could see something off in a moment. Like, but I mean, I guess because, they raised me and they know me. I mean, they know me, so like they really know my mannerisms and who I am as a person. So like, I forgot what my dad and my mom was talking about one time. They had brought something up, and they was like, well, we knew something was off because this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting there like, man, y'all noticed that? And it was something small, but they noticed it, so, be the people that love you, the people that care for you, the friends that care for you, like really let them, if you got to tap into them, let them let them talk to you, and vice versa, reach out to them, because if not, you're just going to be going through the same thing over and over and over again. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to put yourself through that same cycle? Do you really want to cope like this? Do you really want to go through life like this? So man, y'all gotta really tap in. Like for real, y'all gotta really tap in, because if not, it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna get even harder. Because nobody wants to talk about the reality of what this stuff does to you. Because it's not, and people scared to talk about it and talk about the reality of it, because they feel as though, oh, it's only one way out, or it's so hard to get out. No, I feel like what makes it hard or almost impossible to get out is that people are not real with the cycles that they're going through, with how they really feel. People don't want to address the ugly side. People don't want to address how my envy or my jealousy got me into my depression, how my hate and my spitefulness got me into a depression. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say how I'm depressed because, and I'm not talking about me. No, but nobody wants to say, oh, I'm depressed because I'm jealous that my sister or my brother or my friend is doing better than me, or how I'm lonely and I can't find a man, or this, that, and the third. When in all actuality, you just got to learn how to deal with yourself and deal with those emotions, because typically we don't have and we can't get in this, that, and the third, because we're not, how can I put it? We're not, perfect word, accountability. We're not holding ourselves accountable, and we're not really looking within enough, and we're not being real with ourselves. So I don't know. I just feel like there's so many, life is made and life flows so well for people that know how to flow. And the moment you put energy into learning how to flow through life, it has to happen. That's just a part of the video game that we in. It's like, if you start training your character to get experience points, to level up in this area, yeah, you're going to go through adversity, this, that, and the third. But once you start putting that energy and that time into that, everything is going to start moving forward and flowing forward and growing in that area, because you're putting time in, no matter how long it takes. And stop putting a time limit on your healing. But you got some people that don't heal from some stuff that happened 10, 20 years ago. It took me a while. Like, we in 2021. It took me like almost what year I dated that girl? It took me a while to get over this one person in particular. And not even because like, oh, I miss him, blah, blah, blah. It was the rage I had to get over. It was like the stuff that I had went through in that particular relationship, the betrayal, the lies, the fronting, the this, that, and the third. It took me a little minute, because not still to this day, but I would say, earlier this year / last year, I still was in the mindset of, if I see you, I'm bombing off on you. Like, I'm over it, but I still want you to feel something. And people don't realize that's still a form of bitterness. That's still a form of suppression and holding on to emotions that's that baggage I was talking about earlier. It's like, I'm not saying we're not going to have feelings towards people, but like, if you see that, if you so say over it, and you still see that person, and all of these feelings as though it happened yesterday start coming back over you, and if you was to even go about them, you don't know what you'll do. You'll have no self-control. It's like you're not over it. You're not in control yet. You're not balanced yet. I'm not saying suppress it. I'm not saying work on suppressing it. I'm saying work with dealing with it. Like for me, I work out, I pray a lot, I talk to myself, I talk to my family members, and I be beating the mess out that box in my shed. Like, I will box. I will sit there and punch whatever I got to punch out, because I know how I am. I know how I can get. It's like, I don't have a problem. That's my downfall, but like, one of my downfalls that I'm glad I learned how to control, but I don't have a problem fighting. It's like, especially if you wrong me, I'm more inclined to put these hands on you for no reason at that, and I notice that's not healthy. That's not good, because, I can't, just because I'm mad at you or you did something to me in the past, when I see you, it's on sight. Like, that's not really a good habit or mindset to have, because one, I'm off the leash. It's like no telling what that rage, like you say you do that and that rage takes over. You just, oh, I just want to put them in their place and blah, blah, blah. You could kill somebody, bro. Rage is when you in the moment and you have all this bottled up rage and frustration, and it cracks or some start coming out and stuff like that. Like, man, you'll be surprised the lengths. I remember I was working out one time, ball. And that's when I figured out how to finally channel my emotions through my workouts. And like, I was going through some stuff, boy. I got hot. And I noticed I kept just putting the stuff I wouldn't normally lift. I'm packing the weight on. And I'm sitting there pushing. I'm in there, I'm working out. lifting stuff and with good form, not like just throwing it up. Like, y'all know me, I'm all about like good form and stuff like that. And I look, I'm like, when did I get this? And I'm like, oh, boop. So like when I'm going through something, or if I'm feeling those emotions and stuff like that, I know how to deal with it now. And then I go into my prayer and meditative processes and cycles, because you need a routine. You need an escape. You need a way to get up out of those feelings, because when you feel it and you just like, I don't want to deal with it, and you start holding it in and you're getting all tight, people fail to realize emotions actually transfer through the body physically as well. So you have back pains and shoulder pains and all this stuff going on in your hips and all of that. It's all that stress, all that anger you've been bottling up that you never let out. Oh, I don't think about it. Don't hit me up as much. It's just moved. It's just not up here no more. It just moved somewhere. If you never dealt with it, all it's doing is moving around in your body. Well, I suffer with inflammation and heart palpitations because you are a bitter person, because you are rageful, and then on top of that, you're probably not eating right, but like all of that, eating McDonald's every day and being a bitter person and suppressing that is doing the exact same thing to your heart, but without me having to go into details about it. And there's a real science to it. I will bust that book out tomorrow if I have to, if y'all really want to talk about it. Like that's why I say process, bruh. And like really go through it, because if not, you just gonna be going. I'm telling you, you'll end up exploding one day, or you'll end up just doing something you really will regret. Or if you might do something you don't even have the ability to regret. You'll mess around and might die, or kill yourself. Like really, really deal with these things. Like really take the time to deal with what you're going through, and take the time to be real about it. And find people. Like, don't do what I did when my grandmother passed away. Don't do what I did whenever some of my friends had passed. Don't do what I did whenever, when people had broke up with me, whenever I lost a lot, whenever I lost a good bit of things that was precious to me, or things that I was striving for, or things that I was a part of that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and it blew up in my face. Like, don't suppress. Don't just randomly flash out. Don't sit there and wait till the last minute because you done bottled it all up and then it got to come out all crazy. Deal with it in the moment. Or take your time to kind of prepare yourself to deal with it. Because doing nothing is doing something. So you got to make sure you're not doing nothing. You got to make sure that you're preparing. Don't just sit there idly and isolating and shutting down. No, like you got to really get ready to start dealing with this stuff and just start dealing with it. No matter how long it takes you to get over it or process it, just start doing it. Because when you don't, and it bottles up or it comes out in another type of way, now you start messing up your relationships with people. You start messing up your opportunities. And now you out of line spiritually with the doors that you're supposed to be walking through. Now you got to go through a whole nother spiritual process just because you ain't balancing. Good morning, Joy. Just because you're not balancing this, that, and the third. So I could be this horse all day, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up, y'all. That's how I know it's for somebody up in here, because I've been wanting to start talking about something else, but it typically starts everything just start moving around, and I start talking about stuff that I didn't really want to talk about, but I go into detail about it, so it's for somebody up in here. But you know how we normally do, we're gonna end with our affirmational phrases. Also, I'm leaving my link inside this live so y'all can go check out everything I have that's on sale, and to where y'all can support the business. Thank you for everybody that's for the donations and supporting the live stream and supporting the business. Thank you for everybody that's been making appointments with me and stuff like that. I appreciate you guys a lot. This means a lot to me. But we're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna wrap up, and instead of what we normally do at the beginning, here's what we do at the end. So I'm gonna say a phrase and you guys say it out loud at the end, well, vocally on your end, to where, when you say it out loud and everybody says it together, it happens. Because today is not I today. The word is, we're gonna close with the word we. So I said, you repeat it. We are healing. We are loving. We are delivering. We are renouncing. We are walking into happiness. We are letting go of bitterness. We are letting go of depression. We are working on ourselves. We are open to healing. We are open to joy. We are open to innovation. We are open to be open. We are protected. We are covered. And we will win. I love you all. I hope you all have a great and amazing day. I will see you guys on tomorrow like we normally do. If you guys have any topics you want me to talk about or you want to be a part of the show, DM me, send me a friend request, whatever. We can do whatever. I love you guys. I hope you all have a great day. Peace and chicken grease.